Welcome back to the Aquarius training video series. In this video, we will look at using the calibration data setup dialog within the rating development toolbox. With the calibration data setup dialog, you can choose to get rating calibration points from a time series instead of from your field visit records. To see an example of this, let us start with this rating here. I have calibrated this curve to use these stage and discharge measurements. And you can see they've all been plotted here and here. By default, these points are pulled from the observation values that you enter into the field visit tool. What we are going to do is change what we are plotting here to use data from my logged time series values. Perhaps in my workflow, I would prefer to use my stage measurements only to correct my water level time series and then sample from that time series to get calibration points for my curve. Let's open the calibration data setup dialog right here. Now you see on the right hand side the list of columns that it displays in the field visit table. It's these columns here. That's what these rows here are. I will switch to the time series data tab, select my logger time series data set right here, and use this button to add it to the list on the right. It adds it down here on the end, so I'll just drag that on up to the more to the front right here. Now if I apply and save that change, you will see that it has added another column to my field visit table. What it has done is look up values from my logged stage data set for the date and time of each field visit and put it in this column here. It's just taken a sampling of that high frequency time series and put those values in the table here. We can now use those stage values to calibrate my rating instead of the values from the field visit tool. All I have to do is go to the setup menu, choose rating, and change my independent variable to be that sampling from the stage logger time series that I just made. That's this one here. And as you may expect, the plotted calibration points changed just a little bit. They're a little bit different now, as it is now plotting the points using these values sampled from my logged time series. And I can proceed now to recalibrate my rating curve. To see another application of the calibration data setup dialog, let's switch to this other location over here. At this site, I have entered into Field Visit Tool the total suspended solid measurement, or TSS measurement, from a series of samples taken over time. I also have a 10-minute logged data set from a turbidity sensor at the same location. I'm going to use my TSS measurements and my turbidity time series to come up with a model that I can use to derive total suspended sediment, or TSS time series. And we'll use the rating development tool for that job. Now, starting off here, I don't have any calibration points measured at all. See, there's nothing plotted down here or up here. And that's because I don't have any turbidity measurements in the field visit tool. It only has these TSS ones. There's nothing else that it can plot here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sample turbidity measurements from my turbidity time series in the same way as we just saw in the other example. I'll go into the calibration data setup tool. I'll switch to that time series data tab like we did before. And I'll add my log turbidity time series to that list of columns in the field visit table. And again, I'll just drag it back up to the top. I'll apply those changes. And there you can now see my my turbidity samples as taken from that log time series. So again, I'll go to the Setup menu, go to Rating, and change my independent variable to be those samples I just made from the time series. Apply that, and now I have these calibration points being plotted, and I can go ahead and develop some kind of a model using the rating development tool. So with this model in place, I would then, as usual, set a rating period for the curve, and then I could use this curve to derive TSS time series using a derived calculated time series back in Springboard.